We're here to talk about football.
This is a tough one, really.
You'd rather be safe than sorry.
Will we go up? Will we not go up? Will the season be finished?
Make sure no one has any excuses to hashtag winning the league and saying they didn't win it fairly.
We go up. That's it.
I'll take that for you points. Yeah. I'll take that for you points.
Keep my hands clean. Come here.
It's waiting to get fit, and now the league's cheers.
This actually could push some non-league clubs over the edge.
If you don't mind giving us our trophy, I'll take it.
Alright guys, how you doing? Welcome to an unexpected video for you guys today. Obviously not one we were planning on making. It's a reaction to the coronavirus situation or COVID-19 and how it's affecting our club in football terms. Not just our club, I guess a lot of clubs up and down the country and in fact across the whole world. Before we start, I will say this isn't going to be tackling the medical situation of coronavirus. We're not experts in that front. There's loads of good places you can go to get updates on that. If you've got any symptoms and whatnot, follow the advice of the professionals. We're here to talk about football. Obviously, it's what we do, and it's a large part of what we do, making content about football, which is going to be a little bit limited going forward, and we're going to get on all that stuff. First and foremost, you may have heard that in the UK, all forms of football have been suspended for what you think is going to be at least a few weeks, if not a few months. We don't know how long, but all forms of football. That means professional football at the highest level, Premier League games, and obviously in Europe, we've seen the same with Champions League, etc. But all the way down to grassroots football. So that's including semi-professional, non-league football like ours, but even Sunday league, kids football, everything. Everything stopped. What does that mean for us in terms of our season, in terms of our promotion chase, which is, better than ever right now? Will we go up? Will we not go up? Will the season be finished? We're going to try our best to answer some of these. We can't answer all the questions because we haven't been given the answers yet by the people who ultimately will make the decision, and that is the FA in conjunction with the various bodies that run the leagues up and down the country. But as you can imagine, it's a difficult time for everyone affected by the coronavirus right now. Whatever industry you work in, there's no one that isn't affected in some way. I've got friends who work for airlines who don't know if they're going to have, full pay or even a job for much longer because no one's flying anywhere. We've got friends who work in hospitals who have been inundated and constantly working on people who are suffering from coronavirus. But also in football, it's massive. Let's not make any bones about it. It's a huge development in football. It's the biggest thing we've seen in terms of postponement of football games since the Second World War. Certainly the biggest thing in my generation and probably anyone watching this video. So first things first, we've got to look at the league table. If this was happening in October or, September, August, the season had just started, it wouldn't be anywhere near as much of an issue, guys. They would just stop the season. For all levels, they'd just stop. I'm very confident of that. And they'd maybe pick it up again in a few months, depending on what had happened, or they just write it off. The issue is, we're so close to being done. We're so close, guys. We actually had a massive game, which you may have seen on the channel already, against Walthamstow, which, in my opinion, could end up being a very crucial game for multiple reasons. But if we look at the league table as it stands right now, technically, we're in second. Well, we're not even technically. We are in second. However, we have got games in hand against Saffron Walden, who are ahead of us. And if we were to not even win all those games in hand, but continue the kind of points per game we've been getting, we would finish top. And that's what you can do in this situation, is you can break down teams' performance by points per game. It's important to do that rather than just look at the points accrued, because some teams have played more than others, particularly in leagues like ours. At the higher levels, maybe there's one or two teams with a game in hand. At the lower levels, sometimes there's 4 or 5, even more games played by different teams. Now, the points per game thing is quite interesting because it's actually a rule that is used at our level to decide promotion already. Let's look at how promotion is currently decided if we were to finish this season. You may or may not know this already. There's one automatic promotion spot in our league that goes to first place. If you finish first, you go up. Simple as that. If you finish second, one of two things can happen. You can either also go up automatically, and I'll come back to that. That involves points per game. Or you get a playoff against a team that finishes bottom, I believe, or one off bottom in the league above. The reason that's kind of, I wouldn't say irrelevant right now, is anything that involves playoffs is going to be difficult because you've got to play more games. I would assume playoff spots are going to just disappear. If they do finish this season or mathematically finish it without games being played, they'll just sack playoffs off. We're looking at automatic promotion spots. And there is some for second place at our level. It goes across the UK, our level. I think there's 10 or 11 leagues at Step 5 non-league, the 9th tier of English football. But not all second place teams will go up. I think it's the 4 best second place teams that go up based on points per game. The reason they don't do points is some leagues have more teams than others. Therefore, it wouldn't be fair to just look at who's got the most points. It's simple how you work out points per game. You take the amount of points you've got and you divide it by the amount of games you've played. That gives you our score. Ours is 2.5 currently. Obviously, 3 is the best points per game you could have, which would mean you've got maximum points in every match. We've got 2.5, so much more than a draw every game. We're averaging close to 3 points every game. That points per game would be enough for us to go up if we were to finish second with that points per game, which is, if you look at the league table now, we have. I think it's the second best points per game of any second place team in our level across the country, which is fantastic and a credit to the work the boys and devs have done thus far. But equally is actually better than the team in first place, Saffron Walden. So if they were to wrap up the league as is, we would go up, whatever happens, because we'd either go up in first place if you said that we had the best points per game in our league, or we'd go up in second place based on our points per game compared to other teams across the country at our level. Bit confusing. Hopefully you're still with me. I personally have an opinion on how this should be done and how the league should be wrapped up. But before we get to that, I want to hear from some other people, starting off with none other than the gaffer himself, Devs.
Wow, this is a tough one, really. I think for everybody concerned, obviously we're talking now just about football, and I think it makes you realise just what an important part sport plays in society, that it's affecting so many people. It's a unique situation for everybody. Obviously, there's lots of questions with a season not quite complete, but so close, as to what will happen around winning and losing, promotion, relegation. I suspect that situation, that picture will change the longer that we find that we've got no football. At the moment, we're looking at a 2-week suspension of football for our league. I suspect that will be extended because I just can't see things changing that much in a couple of weeks. But until then, it's a case of sitting and waiting. We can't train. We're trying to get the boys out and about doing bits individually, but it's just not the same. So keeping ourselves focused on on what is the unknown is really difficult. So people are asking my opinion as to what I think is the best and fairest way. The reality of the situation is that whatever happens, there's going to be people that feel like they've been let down or missed out and not benefited, or been victims of circumstance. I think the fairest thing to happen, personally, would be that when everybody's ready to return to football, that the current season and seasons and competitions are played to a conclusion. Then I think it's for the powers that be to think about how it impacts the following season. Obviously, timelines affect things greatly. But for example, I've seen suggestions that a shorter season next year where teams only play each other once maybe. Or it might be a case of front-loading the front of the next season so that there's more midweek games. Maybe lose League Cup competitions, I think. But personally, for this season to be completed would be the best scenario, because we are involved in football, whether it's playing, coaching, managing, spectating, running, the other side, the off-pitch side of things. You're involved in football for the moments, for the memories, and winning a league. For example, for Liverpool, they've waited such a long time. They look clear winners. But even now, if they were just to be awarded the league championship, not having that moment of elation that you get when you finally achieve it on the pitch, in a full house of supporters, having that moment to celebrate, I don't think would feel quite the same for them. In our situation, we want to win things on the football pitch, not as a matter of circumstance. So I don't really know. I don't think anybody knows. I think it's a tough decision for those that have to make it. They have to consider things like the administration side of football as well. We have transfer deadlines. We have disciplinary thresholds and deadlines on those as well. All of these things need to be taken into consideration. If we return to games immediately when football's okay, then you running the risk of injury because people have not been able to train properly. Do we have to start with a mini pre-season before going back? So many questions unable to be answered at the moment. I think the one thing we all need to focus on in life across the world, but particularly with those that we're close to, and so we would at hashtag be looking to affect the squad, is that people's health and well-being are at the forefront, and that we look after each other and we keep well and we follow the advice that we're given.
So in terms of how I want this season to be wrapped up, I believe we're doing the exact right thing right now, which is obviously not playing any games for the foreseeable future, taking precautions because this is actually very serious, and you'd rather be safe than sorry.
In an ideal world, we're in second place, we have games in hand on top spot, and we probably have the best points per game ratio in the league. Ideally, if the season's called off as is, we go up. That's it.
I've heard a couple of rumours that our league might be decided on a points per game scenario. Fingers crossed this ain't the case and the virus clears up and we can get back to playing, because I want to win the league properly. Make sure no one has any excuses to hashtag winning the league and saying they didn't win it fairly. We can go and win all 11 games that we've got remaining and the cup semi-finals, push on to the finals, do the treble and celebrate in style.
Where I believe it should leave us, I think the team with the highest points per game ratio should be given the league titles. It's only fair. I'll take that for you points. Yeah. I'll take that for you points.
I would much prefer that as soon as it is safe to do so, we continue the season exactly where we left off. Hashtag are currently first in points per game, and if that means then the second season or the next season after that is the gap in pre-season is shorter, or you just start a new league straight away, I think it'd actually be pretty interesting. Like, you'd see everyone would still be fit because it's the end of the season, it's the most important time, especially for us, and also you don't have to go through the stress of pre-season. So I guess Peds, you're laughing, mate.
Keep my hands clean. Come here. Lovely. Hello everyone, I hope you're well, I hope your family and friends are good. Just a quick one on me. Basically, the thing with the FA closing the league, or suspending the league for now, should I say. It's a bit of a poo situation because you can't watch the videos, we don't get to play, I don't get to see my boys either, so it's a bit pants, but we all got to deal with it. I hope you're all looking after yourself, cleaning your hands. Just a quick one from me. I've been working from home on my laptop, but also in the background, as you may know, El Capitano, still leading the side out, by the way, don't forget it. And basically what I've been doing is, if you remember, last season, we won the league. We're on our way to winning this league, and this is just to the FA. So if you wouldn't mind giving us the trophy right now, because it's our trophy, I said so, that'd be much appreciated. And just in the background, can you hear that? Can you? Yes! Ooh. So if you don't mind giving us our trophy, I'll take it.
So some of you may know that this league's been postponed because of this dumb virus going around. Well, it's not dumb. I don't know why I said dumb, because I've currently got some of the symptoms for it, so I'm currently self-isolating, playing a bit of FIFA, because some of you may know that I'm the newest member of the esports team. What? Did I just say that? Oh, sorry. Exclusive. Sorry, Tom, Shorey and Harry, but I'm coming for your spot.
Hi guys, so as you know, the coronavirus has taken its toll on not just society but also the football season. And what does it mean to me? It means that it's another 2 months I ain't going to play football. I've worked my off for 7 months waiting to get fit, and now the league's cheers.
For me, the answer is simple, and it's written right across my chest. Football Manager. Now, hear me out, because I know the clubs aren't actually in the game. It's very simple. Every club in the Essex Senior League takes the place of a Premier League club based on where they are currently located. So, for example, hashtag United, we're second in the league as things stand. So we get Manchester City. We nominate one player to take charge of Man City for 1 season in FM against all the other ESL clubs. The end of the season, where you're finishing the save, is where you're finishing the season, and everyone gets the relevant promotion and relegation. That's what I'd do anyway.
My initial thoughts when it came to coronavirus and football were straight away with non-league clubs. These are the clubs that are by far and away going to be the most affected by this pandemic. And the reason being is because they are requiring gate receipts, people spending money in the clubs on a match day, and they need them to survive. This actually could push some non-league clubs over the edge. It is that serious for non-league. I feel like there isn't really anything we can do about it, which is a massive shame. What I will say is that when this pandemic blows over, if it does in the next few months or so, and the season is able to continue, that if you're watching this out there and you haven't been to support your local team or your local non-league club, please, I urge you to go and watch them. Give them any money you can to support them and help them get back on their feet, because they are desperately going to need it in this time of need, because like I said, clubs could genuinely go under, and that is the most heartbreaking thing for the loyal fans, the volunteers that run these clubs and keep them going, because non-league clubs, more than any club in the footballing pyramid, are massive communities, and without non-league, our football pyramid is defunct in my eyes. So please, when this is done, be sure to get out there and support your local non-league team where possible.
Hi everyone. I reckon I've got to be the unluckiest man in football. So, day I signed for hashtag, all the games get called off for 2 months. We've only got 10 games left. Let's make sure we win all of them 10 games. Whether we have to play 3 games a week for 3 or 4 weeks, let's just get back to it as soon as we can and make sure we bring this league home.
Okay, so I think it's important to stress the situation we were in before coronavirus came along, and that was already that due to some serious weather issues at the start of the year, calendar year, we had a backlog of games. We were already going to have to play at least 2 weeks where we had 3 games in that week, like a Saturday, a Monday and a Thursday. It's a lot of games for players that aren't professional, have got jobs in between, have got to balance that. And it can change the nature of what happens in the league table in the end, because certain teams can't cope with that backlog, so it's better to get your games played. So this could be, from football perspective only, a blessing in disguise. If we were to pick up the league at a later date, say in the summer, normally there's a ban for all football in June in the UK. They lift that ban if we're okay by June, maybe later. And we play the games as we have to play and we finish the league. Now, that's something that's probably more palatable for our league than it is the professional leagues. And the reason that you can do it at our league is there's not really any player contracts. So there shouldn't be this huge movement of players come June, July, who are going to different teams. And suddenly someone could say, hang on, it's not fair if you make me play my games in August for the last season because I haven't got the same players anymore. It's up to the club to retain those players, make sure they're fit, make sure they're, not wanting to leave. But that you have that problem throughout the whole league anyway. That's not new. The reason you might not be able to do that in the Prem, even though they might have to, is that players might be out of contract at the end of the season. Managers might be out of contract at the end of the season. What happens then? What happens if Liverpool have got to pick up their games, theoretically speaking, in September, but they've sold Van Dijk? Or Van Dijk put in a transfer request because Real Madrid came in for him. Or they've lost Salah. I mean, that back in the day, that could happen at any point in the season before the transfer window anyway. So I think you just have to stomach that, and that might be the best option. Because my opinion is, you can't just end the league as it is. No one wants to see that. No one wants to be the team that won the title on a technicality. They want to earn it, And that might not be an option. And if it's an option that's not presented to us, I will respect it. I'll respect it because it might just be that we don't know when these games are going to be played. But I don't think this is my preferred option. If it does happen, though, and this is me trying my best to speak objectively and unbiasedly, but if they call the league where it is, they end it, and they say no more games will be played for what is the 2019-20 season, #United have to be promoted. I firmly believe that. And I'll tell you why. It's because we beat Walthamstow. That game could end up being massive. If we didn't win that match, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's an unbelievable game for many reasons. And by the way, Walthamstow could have won it on another night. They had some great chances. But the fact we won it could be more crucial than any single game #United have ever played. Because by winning that game, we took the league back into our own hands. We overtook Walthamstow. We had the superior points per game. Before that match, they had it. If we'd drawn that match, they would have it. And promotion would not necessarily be something we could argue for so strongly. But in my opinion, based on the numbers alone, if anyone's getting promoted from this league, and if it's only one team, it has to be us. Let me know if you've got a different opinion in the comments below, but look at the league table. The numbers are there. I don't think they can lie. But that is not my preferred option. I'd rather play the games, guys. I'd rather get the games done. And that could affect the season after. It could be that the season after, if it has to start at Christmas, say, because we took this long to finish the games, because we might have like a 3, 4, 5, 6 month break for all we know. If that has to happen, then the next season can maybe be less games. The next season could be 1 game against each team rather than 2. Half of them at home, half of them away. It's randomised. You might get unlucky with a tough game away, but You have to just do what you got to do to get the league done. That's one option. Likewise with promotion relegation, my preference is promote people, don't relegate people. I think it's unfair to be relegated when you've got games still to be played because you might have turned things round. But I think it's also really unfair if you don't get promotion when this much of the league's been played, costs have been incurred, and we're looking at our level. But let's look at someone like, I don't know, someone pushing for promotion from the Championship or League One. They might have invested tens, maybe even hundreds of millions of pounds trying to go up if you're talking about a Championship push to the Prem, because you can justify it financially. What you can't justify is spending tens or however many millions of pounds to go up and then find out the fact that you could never have been promoted because of some crazy virus that no one saw coming. That money was just dead money. They can't do that to teams. You've got to put someone up or finish the league at a later date. In my opinion, it will take away a lot from the credibility of all organised football in the country. Maybe in terms of Sunday league, you can call leagues. I mean, I think our Sunday league's going to get called off. We've played 6 league games. We've had 2 games this calendar year. They were both cup games. It's almost impossible for us to finish our Sunday league now unless they let us play in the summer. And I'm open to this idea. I don't know anyone that wouldn't be. I don't know anyone for any good reason that would not be open to playing in the summer. Maybe they've booked a holiday. They ain't happening. Right now, your holidays aren't happening, guys. Newsflash, you'll be around for a little bit. It's only a matter of time before the EU have already closed borders. It doesn't matter if you've got an EU passport. You can't move between the countries right now. It's on lockdown. That might not last that long. But if you're into your football and you want to see your season finished, you'll commit to that. Obviously, health comes first. We don't want anyone playing games that don't feel well. We don't want anyone playing games against people that are at risk. We currently have a player right now who is in isolation, having coronavirus-like symptoms. We have another player who lives with someone who had symptoms, who's having to go into isolation as well. So we've got people in isolation. We've had games cancelled in the last few weeks because someone on the other team has not necessarily been told they've got coronavirus, but it's believed to have the symptoms or been around someone that has. So you ideally want to get rid of that. We need to find out more about the medical situation, about the advice from the government in terms of playing. But once it's safe to play, I think we'd like to pick up the league where we left off rather than just sack it off. Of course, if you're a mid-table team, you might say something different. If you're a mid-table team or you're a team, say like West Ham, and Karen Brady's come out and said something recently, where you're worried about getting relegated, but you're not currently in the relegation places, the season ending where it is now suits you. I am genuinely trying to speak objectively. Of course, we're pushing for promotion and we want to go up. But I also think if we were 5th, 6th, 10th right now, and there was a team that had put so much effort to going up, and they're in the position to do that with 10 league games left, to say they can't even play for it and the season's just gone, it's a lot to take. And we don't want to go too much into the nuts and bolts of it, but we're going to see a lot of teams go out of business unless they get help from the FA, and there's a grassroots fund to access teams like a good team, in my opinion, that runs their club sustainably, i.e. they don't need a hand-me-down from a rich benefactor, a team that is existing on gate receipts and they have the popularity, the people coming through the stand that allows the club to exist. They're the ones that are going to get punished the most because they've built their team around a business model that means they take the money they make from people coming to watch and they put that into the team. Because people can't come to watch, we're saying a League 2 club, for example, that doesn't stop them having to pay their players who are contracted. The players have a right to be paid still. Football's a small career. They still need to get their money. They've got their contract, but the club hasn't got the money coming in. What happens here? Does the club just go out of business? We've seen it happen recently before coronavirus with clubs like Bury. We've seen Bolton have points deducted. We can see it a lot more unless someone comes and helps and we get some of that TV money from the top and it's put down the lower system. It's not something that applies to our level. I'm talking about professional clubs. Okay, so that's where we are in terms of football. We're still waiting for a lot of information from the people that run football in the UK. But where are we in terms of content? Content's a massive part of what we do, and we're going to keep bringing you as much as we physically can across all our YouTube channels and social media. It'll be a little bit different, but we've got some, I think, quite clever ideas to keep you guys entertained. What we are a little bit limited on is physical face-to-face contact. We're trying to limit how much people go to the HQ. We're a digital company, so people can work from home. So we're lucky in that regard. But we're going to keep trying to bring you content. We hope you get behind it. We hope we can entertain you because I've got a feeling you guys are going to have a little bit more time to watch content than normal. But yeah, so expect videos. Obviously not match videos anytime soon.
Yes, guys, LP here. A bit of a weird one. As you can tell, I'm currently at home. I've got everything that I need here to work from home. And that's being done to ensure the safety of others. But obviously, with that being said, like, it's weird hashtag being away from each other because we're such a social club and we obviously bring you content on a somewhat daily basis, you know, like weekly basis. So it's weird not being in that environment. But one thing that I will say, and I am going to say, is that we I feel like that we have a bit of a responsibility to keep bringing you guys content, and that is exactly what we're going to do. So stay safe, be clean, but also, more importantly, be subscribed.
We're going to be bringing you YouTube content on the hashtag channel, on the hashtag esports channel, which if you haven't checked it out yet, I thoroughly recommend you go and subscribe. We're doing some unbelievable stuff out there. And there's been huge ramifications for the esports season, separate to the football season, that we're actually going to make a secondary video on. I'm going to sit down and do like a long form chat, podcast style, with our esports boys, because I want to talk to them not just about this and essentially their season being, I don't want to use the word cancelled, but it's looking that way. But we also, there's loads of other issues to talk about in FIFA we haven't had the chance to talk about, and we've got a bit more time now on our hands. We can talk about the state of the game at the moment, FIFA, any thoughts on it, the state of esports, different things that have happened around the scene. So I'm looking forward to that. Look out for the hashtag esports channel. Make sure you subscribe to see all that content coming soon. Well, guys, that's about it for this video. Let us know in the comments below how you would solve this situation. What would you do if it was your decision on how to wrap up these different football leagues up and down the country and abroad as well? And what sort of content would you like to see from us in the meantime? On this channel, on my personal channel, on the hashtag esports channel, on social media. We're trying to do our best to cater for you guys, so give us any suggestions in the comments below. Drop a like if you've enjoyed the video. Stay safe, subscribe. Don't forget to hashtag it, but make sure you wash your hands before and after.